Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to one and all who are watching us live at Sportanic Sports Redefined show. Today we bring you one of the most exciting talents of Pakistan football, the present captain of Pakistan national football team, Miss Maria Jamila Khan. How are you, Miss?
Hi, Saeed. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing good. A little tired. We've had quite the training camp so far, so bear with me if you see some
Okay,
tired eyes and
right.
tired faces.
No problem with that. We'll definitely manage that. So, Maria, first of all, it's really an honor for us to have you as a guest and coming like I would like to ask about your journey, your childhood, and then you came into the Pakistan. How the football, the love of football that you possess, how does this stands for you?
Yeah, so I have been playing football since the age of 6. It's one
Mhm.
of the sports that I grew up around. It's something that has always had a very close place and
Mhm.
permanent place in my heart. My as far as my journey goes, I started playing in school with all the boys at lunchtime,
So how does that
kicking the
feel?
ball around.
How did you feel playing
And
along with the
that's where
boys?
I fell in love with it because I was beating all the boys.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, you know what? This isn't that bad. I kind of like this. It felt very, I didn't realize it then.
Hmm.
But looking back on it now, that time in the schoolyard, in the playground, at lunchtime with the boys, it was it's empowering, right? When
Yeah,
you have that level of confidence to be able to, as a 6, 7 year old, being able to step out on the pitch, on the playground at lunchtime, which people will say, that's one of the hardest places to be, right? Is in the
exactly.
schoolyard at lunchtime. Um, so again, being able to be out there, again, looking back on it now, those moments were, I think, very critical in developing my love for football. So it
Oh,
started there, and has continued ever since. I played Division 1 football in the U.S., which is one of the highest levels
okay.
of football in the country, in the United States, for women.
Hmm.
So I was fortunate enough to play for a side, University of Denver. And then in 2018 is actually when I found out about football in Pakistan, and I played in my first national championship. And ever since then, this team, this country, these girls have had a very special place in my heart and have actually made me fall more in love with the game.
Well, definitely, Pakistan, when it comes to Pakistan, there's nothing like that. And
There's
looking
in
like
all of
hearing
its
it from you,
chaos and all of its everything, there's lots of beauty within all
yeah,
of that.
definitely. Well, it's an amazing fact to know that you started playing football at the tender age of 6. That also you played with boys and all that stuff. So, for the girls in Pakistan, you have been an inspiration, and you have been like for now, you are one of the stars in budding, or maybe you are the biggest star in Pakistan for female footballers, or maybe for all over the women. So, coming to that perspective, uh, for this platform, what would you say, and what would you what would you say, and what would you tell the people of Pakistan how to grow, and like you grow, and like you have played football? So how do you think this perspective can move further, and more
Yeah.
girls can come into this field of play? As you know, in Pakistan, you have been in Pakistan, and you have seen the culture. It's very hard for the females to come into
Yeah.
this sport. So let's
Yeah.
just get to that point.
Yeah, so I'm actually, if you don't mind, I'm gonna, correct this statement a little bit.
Sure, sure.
For me, these girls are the inspiration,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you.
Because
Yeah.
I was given all of the resources, I was given all of the facilities. I should be at a certain level playing wise. What these girls are doing and the resilience that they're showing and, how they're improving, they have no right to do that, and they're doing it, right? And they're proving everybody wrong with their limited resources, with, the constraints that they have, with the challenges that they face. So I think for me, the girls, they're my inspiration, right? They're the ones who, help me get out of bed every morning and say, right, if they can do it, let me do it too. So I think, it's it's a two-way street, and I think, these girls are the stars, right? There's so much talent in this team. There's maybe only four girls maybe in the team that are probably over the age of 21,
Hmm.
right? So we
A very
have
young
a
squad,
very young, very
yeah.
young, high potential team, which is really exciting. So again, for me, there's lots of stars in this team. They just need time to get experience and get opportunities to play for the country and to represent the
Yeah.
country, because we haven't had the privilege to be playing consistently and regularly. So
Yeah.
these amazing
Hmm.
girls and these amazing talents haven't had the opportunity to showcase themselves yet. So really excited. I see a question is
Yeah.
popping in from
So
Faison.
yeah, what
um,
there that was the question I was about to ask you. Like, how
yeah,
do you think about Pakistan's football, women football specifically, that it goes in 5 year time? So
yeah.
what
So
do you feel?
I think something that's currently happening is
Mhm.
the federation or the normalization committee are really trying to lay the framework and the foundation down for what women's
Yeah.
football is going to look like in the future. And a key part of that and a key driver is going to be being able to offer a domestic league for women, right?
Yeah,
And
that
for
was.
girls.
Mhm.
So, that is one of the key steps that I think is in the pipeline,
Mhm.
for women's football within the country, which is really exciting. And again, a very positive step in the right direction. I think, like any sport in any country, there's going to be ups and downs, and it's
Obviously.
going to be really important for the country to understand that we're what's happening is we're trying to revive football in the country, and we're trying to lay the foundation down, and that's going to take
Mhm.
time, right? And we're going to
Well,
have to be patient. And again, the key here is with women's football is, can we start to get our local girls playing football regularly, 11-a-side football,
oh,
right? Futsal might be there. I think
mhm.
futsal is accessible for men and women,
Yeah.
but can we get 11-a-side competitive football on a regular basis?
Well,
So to answer the question, Faison, I think, in the next 5 years, hopefully we can have a consistent domestic structure, for women and young girls to be able to compete in.
well, that can definitely lead to some new heights for the football in Pakistan. Well, as you said, that there's is being a plan for the women football, or maybe the men football as well. The National Challenge Cup has been like it's been going on away right now, but Pakistan is being a cricket dominant state, or maybe cricket dominant country. So how do you think that football? We all know that Karachi or maybe Balochistan specifically, Chaman, maybe these areas are mad about football. But when it
Yeah.
comes to a global perspective, the people outside Pakistan see Pakistan as a cricket dominant state. So how do you think can this perspective actually can change and people can start believing that this Pakistan also has that football potential?
Yeah, I think there's being able to compete internationally, right? And
Yeah.
consistently, right? So constantly getting our men's and women's teams out there, not just the senior teams, right? The under 18s, the under 20s, the under 23s, right? Getting these teams in tournaments. So for example, I think for the first time in women's football history, we're going to be playing in the Olympic qualifiers,
Well, definitely
that
for
are
that.
coming up in April, right? So that in itself is going to raise awareness, because the teams in our group, Philippines, Tajikistan, and Hong Kong, they're going to be
So
like,
it's
oh,
gonna be an interesting.
Pakistan has football, right?
Yeah,
So and even the people that are in other groups and stuff, they're going to see that draw. So again, that in itself will help raise awareness and help shed light on, okay, there is football activity in this country,
yeah.
right?
Well,
And again, the performance on the pitch, and players being able to stand out and deliver results on the pitch, that always helps. But again, that's not always going to be the case, right? Because there are going to be ups and downs. There's going to be wins. There's going to be losses and all
yeah,
that stuff.
definitely.
But yeah, raising awareness. Platforms like yourself being able to showcase different football talents in the country, up and coming talents. Again, it's just being able to get, first of all, Pakistan on board. And
Yeah.
once we get Pakistan on board and supporting football in the country, and not just football, other sports,
Yeah,
right? That
definitely.
have
It's
been
needed,
previously
it's need of
neglected.
the hour for Pakistan because much of the time has been invested into cricket, and the rest of the sports
Yeah,
have been like they have been kept on a side. But
yeah,
as you just said, that there's a plan for domestic leagues for
yeah.
women, and so is that kind of a plan or maybe the roadmap that is being followed by the Pakistan Super League in cricket, or is that something different? Or maybe it's just between the local players, or maybe some international stars might join in also.
To be honest, I think it's still very much in its infancy. And to be honest, I'm not very much involved in that, so I wouldn't be able to speak on the specifics. But again, for me as a player, the most important part is a league is coming,
Well,
and
that is what's required, yeah.
that's what we want to hear, right?
So, as you told, you have been playing in American Division One. That is one of the highest, level of football in America and USA. So, comparing the facilities and comparing the playing opportunities, how do you think that that kind of skill can be actually obtained in Pakistan, keeping in mind the whole scenario, the normalization committee, and definitely the crisis that have been faced by Pakistan football recently. So how now they are out of that and they are on the roadmap. So to reach that level, how do you think this can take time and how much of the period is required? We know the talent is there, we know the
Yeah,
people
I
are
think
there, but
it's
it needs a proper platform.
yeah, it's again, it's something if you think about it, right? Pakistan being, I think, what the fifth largest country in the world, right? Population over 200 million, being able to, develop a sport with that many people with this kind of magnitude, it's a challenge in itself. Right? There's, with the different provinces, different cities, but something that we have to look at as an extreme positive with having that type of that size of country is the population opportunity, right? The potential pool of talent that is sitting within the country, right?
Yeah,
So you have, Pakistan is in a position to where there's maybe 100 times more players than there is in the neighboring Gulf countries, for
yeah,
example, right? But what those again, there's obviously a difference between resources and facilities, but for me, again, the most important part here and what the US had and what Europe had, it's just that consistency and it's that pathway that's identified. I think right now it's not something that we don't know the pathway, right? We have to be
yeah,
able to identify that pathway, and once we identify that pathway, first, like for example, parents, right? Parents
yeah,
who are going to spend money to put their children in academies, in clubs, they need to know that, okay, what does the future look like for my son, or what does the future look like for my
yeah,
daughter?
exactly.
Is it going to be is it the national team that's the highest level, or is it going to be inter-university? What does that look like, right? We have to
Yeah.
identify that first.
Well, that is the question also. The question asked is also pretty same that I asked you, but we have to give the fans the equal amount of the respect. So, what do you
Give
think?
them what they
How
want to hear.
Yeah, what they want to hear? How much
Yeah.
time will be taken for the football in Pakistan because the both of the sets of football, the men football and the women, as you know, the opportunities are very less to play international friendlies as well as to play the international tournaments. So how do you think how much time will it take to get back onto the right path, the right track?
So I think we're getting back on track, right? I think we are there. You have the men's that are going to be playing Maldives at the end of this month.
Yeah,
You have
I was
us,
coming to that.
next month playing in the Olympic qualifiers, and also the men I think
Hmm.
have the SAF games coming up as well. I believe in the summertime, right? So I think we're back on track. The key here is, can we stay on track? So
Well,
that's
we all hope that.
that's the key question that I don't have the answer to. I don't know.
Well, we all hope, we all can hope and we hope
Yeah,
for
we
the
can
best,
only hope. But I know, this team, these women, these girls, we're playing every day like it's our last. We don't know, if this is going to be the last tournament, if we got a whole lot of football to be played ahead of us. We don't know, right? So we just need to show up to every game, every competition, like it's going to be our last. And that's the mindset we have, and I think that's one of the hardships of being a fan of football in Pakistan. It's an emotional roller coaster that we, are
Definitely.
all on.
It's really emotional, when you wear
It's the
that
nature
star
of
on the
it.
cage. That star, that means a lot to a lot of the people, a lot of the people. So another question is in. Share with us the take of that goal against Saudi Arabia. Well, that is the one of the most asked question. That Saudi Arabian goal, that shot. How did you create that? Even now, I got the goosebumps. I saw that a lot of times.
Yeah, so that's funny. This I wish there was much of a tale. The story would be much cooler. But to be like I'm left-footed. I love that shot. I love, being able to open up my hip, swing the ball in. It's a set piece. Is something that's something I practice very regularly. Lots of training sessions. I'll stay after or I'll come early just to be able to practice set pieces. Because set pieces are so important in games, right? They can be the difference between
Yeah,
winning or losing a game 1-0, right? So for me, and just going off of Ali's, the second part of Ali's question is I knew we were down 1-0.
yeah.
That free kick, it was the second half, right? I think it was like the 65th or 67th minute or something. And
Mhm.
the goal we were shooting towards, that was the side where the Pakistani fans were, right? So you hear this tremendous
Sound,
cheer,
yeah,
tremendous
yeah.
support. So I think in that game there was over 5,000 fans, and I guarantee you 4,000 were Pakistanis in
Oh,
Dammam at that time
that's
in that
great.
stadium. So it was just a really good feeling. It was a really good feeling that I had when I put that ball down. I was like, listen, this is something that you do all the time. This is your favorite shot to take. Take advantage of it. And subhanallah, practice came into fruition, and here we are.
Well, to make it more interesting, I myself am a left-footed football player.
There you
So
go.
for the fans
It
to
just
know,
always looks a little better with a left footer, huh?
yeah, definitely. Well, very long question in for you. You recently played in Dammam, Saudi Arabia, and you were visited Pakistan school to meet the students. I was not lucky enough to meet you, but how was your experience there? Maybe someone from Saudi Arabia is asking you a question. So
Yeah.
on to you, man.
So thank you, Anas. So yeah, we had the opportunity to talk. The whole team got to go to one of the schools there in Dammam. It was a Pakistani school, and we got to share a little bit of our stories. The players, not just myself, other players got to share their stories as well, and we got to engage a little bit with the students that were there. And it was a really nice time. It was a nice experience. I live in the UAE when I'm not here in Pakistan. So for me, I love GCC countries. My mother-in-law is from Saudi, so again, Saudi Arabia always hold a special place in my heart, especially now with our team's performance in the tournament. Saudi will always be, for their hospitality, the way the federation treated us, the way the national team, the way they welcomed us. It was an amazing experience overall.
Well, that's great to hear from you. Okay, another question is in. Do you think in 2023, still having the system of departmental club level, maybe actual, it leads to like what? Rather actual football franchises can lead to a better football situation in the country. So, do you think the departments or clubs, or that you would suggest a franchise system in football?
So when I'm done with my playing career, and inshallah, when I move to the management and the strategy side of football in the country, I will answer this question.
Well,
But
that's
until then,
that's quite a funny answer,
I'm going to leave this question to the strategist,
Well,
because it's not my area of expertise yet.
that's got a funny and diplomatic answer. Okay, another one is in. Okay, that's quite a thank you note. But okay, now I would like to ask you, as we are talking about Saudi Arabia journey, what does the impact it created upon the team after that that kind of performance that you girls performed in Saudi Arabia? That was a very much uh, many fans, there have been a growth of fan number in Pakistan for you all. So yeah, how does
Yeah.
that feel? And at the back of the mind, you feel that now we have a fan army backing us.
Yeah, so it's listen, one of the main reasons why people play football is to be able to inspire, right? So
Yeah.
if it's one of the reasons why I play, right, is I want to go back to, one of the reasons is that feeling I had when I was that 6-year-old girl beating up all the little boys on the playground, but then also is, remember being that little girl who was inspired, right?
Yeah.
I had role models to look up to. So for me, it's when I step out on that pitch, it's being able to have the ability to inspire, whether
Hmm.
it's through work effort, whether it's through skill, whether it's through the way, you communicate with your teammates, how you pick them up when things aren't going down, how you react when something isn't going right? These are all things
Yeah.
that really matter. So again, I think having a fan base and having that support in good times and in bad times, right? Yes, you
Yeah.
can call yourself a fan, but are you a true fan? Are you going to be a fan that's unconditional,
Well,
right?
we have to be,
This is what
we
I
should not be,
challenge the
we should
community
not be
to be.
seasonal fans, right? We should not be seasonal fans. We are
Correct.
supporting you. We are supporting you from the core of our heart, and definitely
Correct.
that's how it would work.
Yeah.
So,
Because you
as you
guys are
told
on
about,
this journey with us as well. You guys, like the fans, have been part of the emotional roller coaster just as much as we have as
definitely,
players.
we enjoy,
So
we enjoy these things. Even we see Pakistan less playing in football fields, but whenever they play, even those who don't really watch football, they watch the match.
yeah,
That might be hockey or squash or maybe football. The seasonal fans, I might be one of those, but when Pakistan comes, that is something full stop. We
yeah,
are there, we are supporting in bad and good, doesn't matter. Because we are the
absolutely.
one who were enjoying your success in Maldives, 7-0. That is
Yeah,
history. So I was coming to that. Uh, Take us to that match as well. How was
yeah,
that, and what was the whole thought process?
yeah. So that I think that victory in itself, regardless of who you're playing, a 7-0 victory is a statement, right? Doesn't matter if it's what it doesn't matter the opponent, whether they're ranked,
Yeah,
unranked, middle tier, top tier, low tier, it doesn't matter.
7-0 is a
7
big
0
deal,
is a statement victory in international football.
Yeah.
And I think it gave us the momentum that we needed and the right leg to stand on, right? Do I think, those performances and what's happened in Saudi has genuinely put football, women's football in Pakistan on the map? Maybe no, but it has moved the needle, right? We have started
Mhm.
to bring awareness.
Yeah,
And I think
definitely.
that's what it's going to be us continuing to do is, right, we have to make sure that we're leaving this space better than we found it. So when I'm done playing, right, can I look back and say, okay, I left this place better than I found it?
Well,
That is the
definitely.
mentality that we have.
That is what a legend thinks. Uh, okay, I'll come to these questions. This is an interesting question. I was first coming to the role model.
Yeah.
Who is your role model? And can I guess something? Let me just guess. Okay, just for a moment, you are a left-footed player. So, and you scored one of the stylish goals in Saudi Arabia, and I might go to Lionel Messi as your favorite player. Am I right or not?
No.
Oh my
No.
God.
No. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
One of my favorite players is old school, not playing anymore. But something that a player that I really do appreciate is I look up to a lot of players in regards to their leadership styles and how they
Mhm.
lead. It's something that I always try my best to do, and that's to empower, right? Not necessarily lead, but can I
Mhm.
empower my teammates?
Okay.
And somebody that I felt did that very well was Vincent Company.
Okay. That is a very,
Yeah,
I'm
he's not your all-star player. He's not a
yeah,
Ballon d'Or
yeah,
winner. None of that. None
that
of
is what
that.
I was thinking. Like, it's not one of the questions, one of the answers that most of the fans were thinking of. Even
Yeah.
the question, just on your screen right now. So he was also anticipating the same thing that I was doing, but he just, he wanted to know about the real goal. Okay, just make it very simple. You are here. You are a football player. Just make it clear to the fans that Lionel Messi is the greatest player on earth to play football.
I'm gonna go Brazilian Ronaldo.
Oh my God. Okay.
Brazilian
So,
Ronaldo.
okay,
Listen,
here's the
I
thing.
will not. I can't listen. You can't discredit Messi or Ronaldo
Yeah,
because the accolades, the numbers, they speak for themselves, right?
definitely. That
For
is.
me, it's like again being a true fan of the game and really appreciating the game. I know that there's so many players who have contributed to Messi and Ronaldo's success,
Yeah,
right? Because
definitely.
I'm a teammate and I've been on teams with superstars and I know that these guys probably do their best. Like, again, Messi probably does his best sometimes to get the best out of his teammates. Ronaldo, there's probably been
Mhm.
periods of times where he's tried to get the best out of his teammates. We've seen Ronaldo encouraging his teammates to take a penalty, right? During, I
Yeah.
think it was the Euros or one of the major tournaments, right? So, making people believe that you're allowing your teammates to feel that you believe in them. I think again, I'm sure these guys are good teammates, and that's what I look for in players, is which one of these are good teammates.
Well, definitely. It's very needed. You cannot be a single man show or even not a one man army when it comes to football. You need a team support. And whether it's Ronaldo or Messi or maybe anyone, they need the support. And
Mm,
Argentina itself is a good team to play with.
yeah,
They are very strong when it comes. And if I go to Portugal, they are more kind of reliant on Ronaldo because
right.
if
Yeah,
comparing the both sides, so in that case, that might be edging Ronaldo there because he has to play whole of the scenario. But
different
Messi,
style. Yeah.
yeah, Messi has the support coming from the left and the right
So, are
wing
you
for
a
him.
Ronaldo fan then, based on the way you're talking, huh?
Oh,
You're a Ronaldo fan
well,
based
well,
on the way you're
well,
talking. Got
that's not the
it.
case.
Point
That's not the case. That's not
taken.
the case. We just won the FIFA World Cup last year, so I am a more kind of a Messi fan. So I wish I'm not taking a lot of your time because you already told in the beginning of the show that you are tired and you just got out of training. But I just went through one of the comments that have been there. Manchester United has left the chat. So what does we have been talking we have been talking about those stars, and we are now talking about one of the clubs that has a big legacy. They have a great past. But what do you think, as a football player, where did it go wrong for them? If you are one of the analysts, or maybe you analyze their playing field and playing style, what do you think? Where's wrong with them?
For who? For United?
For United, yeah.
Oh, I can't even talk about United because I'm an Arsenal fan. So anything that
Oh
I
my
would
God.
say, anything, there would be nothing nice that comes out of my mouth. So I'm just going to
Well,
politely decline that question.
well, that okay. We can pass that out. So coming to Arsenal now, they are playing well. They are actually they were down and they were down, but they are going back to the track. So coming to that, okay, just tell me about them. You are their fan, and I'll ask the same question.
Sorry, what was the question?
My question was like, okay, coming to the Arsenal, why do you like them, and what is the reason that actually you are towards them in case of your support?
So I have no choice. My husband is a diehard Arsenal fan, has been an
Uh,
Arsenal fan since his childhood. So I
okay,
have married into an Arsenal family. And it
okay,
has become my own family. But no, to be fair, like if I had to choose an English club, I think Arsenal would obviously be up there just because of the heritage. I think
hmm,
a lot of these English clubs have a deeply rooted heritage, deeply rooted
yeah,
story and history. But I think there is something very special that Arsene Wenger did. I think he is somebody who was very ahead of his time and he changed the game then. I think his role at FIFA now and the work he's doing within FIFA FIFA and the talent development, I think he is continuing to grow and enhance the game. So I think witnessing that and seeing what he's done for football in general and how much Arsenal means to him and how much he
Yeah.
means to Arsenal, I think it's that loyalty I think the club showed to him for I think what over 20 years. I think that I was like I have to respect that.
Well, yes, definitely. It needs that respect. Well, let me just tell you that I belong to a MBBS background. I'm a doctor. So, coming to that perspective, I really wanted to ask about the sports injuries. How and why, how the players in football, I have seen Neymar Jr. twisted his ankle a lot of times and going into rehabs for like 6 months or maybe 1 year or maybe more than that. So sports injury in specific for football players, why and how?
I think it depends on the person, right? It depends on the athlete. Some athletes, like I've had teammates that are more injury prone than others. I have some that, are mashallah, like very healthy, suffer no
Hmm.
injuries, are always fine.
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of it comes down to, your body composition. It's very individual based, right? I don't think you can answer that question
Well,
as a whole or as a general.
yeah.
I think something that's really important that I can speak for myself, something that I look to do now that I'm getting older, is just being able to focus on preventative work, right, rather than waiting for something to happen and then for me to
Yeah.
have to go to rehab, right? It's what kind of prevention exercises can I do?
Uh-huh.
For me, it's this is the cure of everything.
Yeah. Remain
Water,
hydrated. Yeah, water is,
staying hydrated. I think something I've realized as I've, come throughout my playing career is just the importance of water and sleep, right?
well,
Being
that
able
is,
to get the right amount of fluid intake and just being able to get the right amount of sleep that you need to feel good. I think recovery are those two things. The massages, the ice baths, the cupping, the dry needling, all that stuff is extra. But if you're not doing the basics and drinking water and sleeping, none of that's going to matter.
well, that is a pretty that kind of question that a doctor actually prescribes to its patients. So, the point of the fact is off training and on training. What are the fitness plans? Sometimes you are at rest, you're at home, and then you go into playing field. So, how are the fitness plans actually changed, and what are the training tactics for you?
Yeah, so when we're in camp, depending on how far we are from competition, um, let's say for example 4 weeks out of competition or a
Uh-huh.
tournament or a match, it's not the time to try to lose weight, gain weight, get stronger, get faster. That's not the time, right? You need at like probably 8 to 12 weeks of a specifically tailored program to work on those things. The importance of being in training camp close to competition is maintaining your fitness levels, right? Keeping your muscle mass, not
Yeah.
letting your muscle mass drop, and being able to maintain high levels of energy and high levels of performance, right? So the intensity, the closer we get to competition, the intensity of training sessions will obviously tailor off, right? Before competition, right? About 10 days before competition is when we start to tailor off on, high intense activities. But again, the times to drop fat, get faster, get stronger, become, more physical, work on whatever it is that you want to work on. That's something that will happen in the off season. Or again, like I said, 8 to 12 weeks away from a major competition.
Okay, well, thank you for that precise answer to this question. Well, coming to the conclusions, and let me just wrap up the things with some kind of interesting and some kind of very interesting quiz questions and a guess a player competition. So first of all, on your screen in a few seconds there will be a player that will be wrapped up in a blurry structure. You have to guess that right, and I hope you guess that right because you recently told about Brazil. So here's a hint always that I've
Ah,
given you.
Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho.
Okay, can I share the answer? That's great. Yeah. Okay, so I really, I got in my brain that you would get the answer right. So coming to the questions, the quiz questions, one is on your screen right now. Who was the top scorer at FIFA World Cup 2022?
Oh, good question. Can I get a clue? Was it
Okay,
from Mbappe, right?
okay, please show the answer.
Yes, I was
Okay,
right.
and Mbappe, with 8 goals, he was the Golden Boot winner. Second question on your screen right away. Which women player scored 4 goals in the historical victory against the Maldives for Pakistan?
Miss my girl, Nadia Khan herself. The
Okay, here
queen,
you go.
the
Here you
queen, the
go.
original queen of women's football in Pakistan.
Well, okay. As we go into, there's one prediction that I wanted you to make. Pakistan is going to play Maldives, the men's side. Strategically, who are you rooting and who do you think will win with how much margin?
I don't bet against my own teams. I don't do it.
Okay,
I don't
yeah,
do
they
it.
will. They
Pakistan's in
will.
the bud the whole way,
Pakistan in the
but I don't
yeah,
bet on my own teams.
inshallah, and we all
Sorry,
hope that.
I'm a little superstitious when it comes to that stuff.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Maria, for your time. It was really a pleasure with you and to talk with you, to get to know you, and definitely to get to know the football structure in Pakistan. It was really an honor, and I, on behalf of my family, my Sportanic family, I thank you a lot to be here with us. See you soon again, and I really hope that you enjoyed my hosting and definitely the show.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Saeed, and thanks for considering me, and thank you for shedding light on women's football in Pakistan. Thank you very
Thank you so
much.
much. Thank you so much.